Hey, John, good morning. Zay Flowers left with that knee injury on Saturday. What's the latest information you have on him, and what do you think his availability will be for the wild card game?
Yeah, he's not. It's not a season-ending injury, so it's just going to be day to day. Try to do everything he can do to get back as soon as he can, and we'll see where that takes us.
Jeff Zuribeck.
John, what do you see from Pittsburgh? Much has been made about their losing streak, heading into the playoffs. So what have you seen from them the last couple of weeks? I don't even know if you've had a whole lot of time to go over the film from recent games because the game was, because you guys have been on a limited time frame and you didn't know who you were going to play.
No, yeah, we've been studying them, and that's what we make of 'em, what we study, what we look at the football, what they're doing schematically, the players, how we think that they're gonna, attack us, how we can try to attack what they do or don't do, and we know them, they know us pretty well. There's always that little, chess game going on, Game of Thrones, I don't know, whatever, with them because it's always something different. There's always wrinkles thrown in every week. So that's the part of it that we study really hard.
Brian Wacker.
Sorry about that.
Try to
John, two things real quick. Just on Zay Flowers, can you just confirm whether that was a sprained knee?
No, don't really have any confirmation on anything like that. It's not really what we're required to do. It's his knee.
Yep.
I can tell you that. So,
and the second thing, what's just the challenge of playing a team like Pittsburgh, third time this time of year, just played a few weeks ago? What is the difficulty for that in terms of game planning, particularly if you have to deal with injuries and so forth?
Well, I don't think there's any specific difficulty in it. This process is still the same. You probably have certain things that are understood. There's a lot of things that are kind of ingrained in your knowledge of a team in a division like that. You've already played twice. So your jumping off point is further down the road for sure. That's about the only difference.
Jerry Coleman.
Coach, following up on that, I believe it's the fourth time you've done this. So can you draw back on the experience of playing this team, for a third time in the postseason?
How many times have we done it? We did it against them in 08.
I want to say 08,
and 15, maybe 14, I think, twice. That sound right?
I want to say 08, 2010, and 14.
Okay. Maybe. I can't remember. I don't really remember the other times, to be honest with you, that well. Specifically. I think it's just part of the process. We played the Bengals a couple years ago, right? Once or twice. So a lot of our teams this division make the playoffs. We've run into them. It's probably pretty normal.
Kyle Goon.
Hey, John, just kind of to piggyback on the Zay Flowers, Rashad obviously made a bunch of plays after Zay went out of the game. I know Zay's still up in the air, but, how do you feel about Rashad's ability to lead this wide receiver group and about how he played against the Browns in the second half?
Yeah, just same as I've always felt about it. He's always been high on my list, my charts. I think he's a tremendous player, tremendous athlete, tremendous competitor, excellent wide receiver, brings us a tremendous skill set to it. He's been playing at a high level all year. Made big plays for us in that game this past week. He was a factor in those drives and getting us into scoring position numerous times. So he's good. And not just Rashad. I mean, I don't think it's just about one guy. It's everybody. We have a lot of weapons. We can move guys around different ways, scheme those guys up, and they can all make plays.
We'll go Karita Parks and then Childs Walker.
Hey, Coach. Over the course of the season, the offensive line, they steadily made improvements. Can you speak to just the job that offensive line coach George Warhop has done, especially given the circumstances in which he came in?
Yeah, yes, I sure could. And those guys have played at a high level, and George has done a great job. I mean, known George, like I said, I think earlier last week or the week before, since we were both 25 years old, and he was working for Mike Godfrey at Kansas. He played for Coach Godfrey. Coach Godfrey and his family were actually here for the game this weekend. So we got a chance to reminisce a little bit about that and laugh a little bit. We were two young guys back then. But, over the course of the years, I kind of followed his career. We weren't pals or anything like that. Those old line coaches, they tend to they stick together. They're called the mushroom club. They say that they get shoved in the dark and they get fed crap, like mushrooms. So they're the mushroom club. And he's a full-fledged member of the mushroom club, but one of the all-time great, I think, O-line coaches. And the fact he was available to me was a God thing. And it's worked out really well. But he's just done a great job. He's been able to pick up on the offense in a short period of time. Right when he came in, the line calls, the techniques, he had to kind of merge, and also at the same time, but coach it his way according to his style. And I think he's a really smart guy, very experienced, very talented teacher, and he's done a great job of that.
Go ahead, Childs.
Hey, John. I know we've asked you kind of variations of this question all season, but do you feel now that you're going into the playoffs that Derrick Henry gives you a different element than you've had in recent years and really in your whole tenure here?
Yes.
Luke Jones.
Hey, John, we all know what Mark Andrews was going through at this time last year, trying to get back from the injury. He was able to make it back, but we know he wasn't his best self. With the way he's played down the stretch, knowing how big he is on third down in the red zone and knowing how important those elements are, and magnified in January, just how excited are you for him to be healthy and what he does for the offense in those areas?
Yeah, Mark's playing at a really high level for sure, Luke. He's been playing well all year. Made some plays, running fast. He's got to be one of the fastest tight ends in the league. I mean, he's just got to be. His ability to get open, make contested catches really showed up in this last game. Made some phenomenal catches. I mean, the one down the right sideline, I don't even know how he saw the ball, let alone find it, get to it, catch it. And then Lamar's trusted Mark, of course. All those things just has been really great.
We'll go Cordell Woodland and then Jamison Hensley.
Hey, John, going back to Derrick Henry, I know earlier in the year you kind of had the quote of, you didn't know how much you guys wanted to use him. It wasn't the plan to go 25, 30 carries a game, but just looking at it in the games that he has had 20 plus carries in 8 of those games, he's gone 100 plus yards, 10 total touchdowns. What's kind of the what does that do for you personally going into the playoffs, knowing that you can kind of ride this guy on the offensive side?
Yeah, it's exciting. It's great to have a great back. I mean, he's obviously running really hard and really physical and downhill. I think our guys are blocking well, and there's other elements to the offense that allows that. I think if you look at his career, he's definitely not getting first contact as early as he has oftentimes in his career. That's been great. All those things have come together well, and it's going to be a big part of our approach in the playoffs.
Go ahead, Jamison.
Don, a big narrative, of course, this week will be Lamar and his 2-4 record in the playoffs. I know you've always used the term a lot of times about how players kind of get calloused. How they get have to go through some experiences, whether physically. Do you think the past experiences that Lamar has had will that serve him well going forward?
Yes.
Jeff
I
Zrebiec.
answered. Well, I like to elaborate, but there's really no elaboration. It's pretty clear that that's the truth.
Go to Jeff Zrebiec.
John, I know they can't interview this week, but have you gotten any slips on one of your coordinators for a head coaching job?
If I had, I wouldn't probably announce it. Maybe, I don't know, they put that out, like the NFL put that out or whatever?
The insiders usually get it.
Yeah.
Send it out.
So you can get it from the insiders when it happens, I guess.
Brian Wacker and then Jerry Coleman.
John, there was so much attention on Zach Orr early in the season. Dean Pease brought in week 5 games in. Zach himself even talked about trying to maybe do too much early on with substitution packages and so forth. Just what were those conversations between you and him, as the weeks went on? And secondly, why, in your view, was he able to navigate that and all of that, and you guys able to continue to improve, defensively to get to this point?
We stuck to our, like you always do. It's week to week, Brian. You stick to what the principles of what you try to do. You try to solve the problems. I mean, so much of everything in life is problem solving, and no more so in this kind of a deal. I mean, football is a multifaceted game. There's just so many things that go into it. There's a lot of scheme things. There's a lot of personnel things, a lot of personality things. There's physiology, matchups. There's just a lot that goes into it. There's day-to-day personal lives. There's psychology, I guess you'd say. So you just try to do the best you can week to week, day to day, and try to improve. And you have a growth mindset toward all those things. And I stick to your guns, not panic, don't overreact, don't bite, like what you were saying, a lot of talk that was coming from the outside. Don't really bite on that. Stay confident, believe in one another, and try to do the best you can. And that's what everybody does. I think all the teams do that. That's the great thing about sports. I say it's a metaphor for life. I hope you do it in your own life so anybody could understand that process. And that's what we try to do.
Coach, I don't know if this will elicit an elaborate answer, but Lamar said after the game the other day was sort of a T-shirt and hat game, and he's really focused on what's ahead. Is that sort of the team focus and your focus and sort of the message?
Yes.
We'll go to Jonas Schaefer.
Hey, John, do you have an update on your expectation for Justice Hill, Patrick McCary, and just those guys, their health for practice this week?
Yeah, they're trending well. They're trending well. They were illness at the end there. Patrick, as you know, played. Just felt like he, I wanted to help him. He would have played. Believe me, he'd have played. He wanted to play, and Justice wanted to play too, but he wasn't as close as Patrick. So those guys will be much stronger this week than they were last week.
We'll go Kyle Goon and then Brian Wacker.
John, we've talked a lot about how the defense has improved in the last 2 months. I mean, you guys also have an interception in 4 straight games. How has winning the turnover battle, in your view, kind of overall impacted how this defense has turned around in the last few weeks? And is there anything that you've seen that has made the defense more successful at coming down with those turnovers?
Yeah, I mean, it's all like anything else. It's turnovers, it's tackles, it's sacks, it's big plays against, it's penalties, whatever. They're all individualized. They come when they come, and they're usually a result of a foundation of chasing and trying to do things the right way, and again trying to improve in whatever area we're talking about, and just not be stuck and mired in some idea that everything is fixed and it's just the way it is and it's the way it's always going to be. So I think you get interceptions by pressuring the quarterback, by covering tight, by disguising coverage, by catching the ones they throw to you, which we didn't do a few times early in the year. Cost us 1 game probably. Those kind of things are very important. Running to the ball is important because when the ball gets on the ground, you want to have people around there to recover it. Sometimes the ball bounces to you, sometimes it doesn't, but having more people there lengthens your odds. Hitting, showing up for the run game, showing up when people catch passes before they get turned around, punching the ball out when they're on the way down to the ground, having enough people around the ball to punch the ball out, have an extra guy or two there. All those things are part of it. So it becomes a reflection of just playing better defense. Even when you play great defense, sometimes they don't come to you. But that's part of it. It all kind of goes together.
Cordell Woodland and then Brian Wacker.
Hey, John, I feel like it's been a while since we asked, but do you expect Arthur Millette to be able to come back in the postseason?
I don't know. That's up in the air. I don't have a great handle on that right now.
Brian Wacker.
Hey, John, let's go back to Derrick Henry for a second. Can you just sorry, can you articulate just how having him, impacts the calculus, particularly in the playoffs when these games are tight, late in the year, all of that, and just the impact it has on Lamar when there's, there's always been so much focus on him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I really can't articulate the calculus because I don't really see it as a math equation. Maybe it is, but if it is, I really don't have time to work it out. I don't have like a big board here in front of me with, like that movie. What was it? Goodwill Hunting. Yeah. So the calculus, Brian, is like, I don't even know what you're asking me for. I mean, I think it's pretty self-evident, the answer to your question, and that's why he's here and he's done a great job. And we're going to be leaning on him big time, just like all of our guys. It's a team game. And that's what we're going to try to bring every aspect of what we bring to the table, all of our firepower, try to execute as best we can, try to put the best schemes together as we can to make the calculus add up at the end of the day, So that's it. That's how it works.
Childs Walker.
John, when you talk to the team at the beginning of this week, do you talk at all in terms of a 4-game mission or a 5-week mission or however you want to put it? Or are you straight week to week right now?
It's both. I've talked to him already about that, but we're going to be focused on this game.
Are there any more questions for Coach?